Have you watched those sci-fi films in which apocalypse strikes and human beings battle it out for basic needs? Well, good tidings, you are living in the future already, a future without water. With temperatures soaring across India and the country becoming drier, we are staring at a severe water crisis. And newsflash, Cape Town in South Africa is not the only place that is going to run out of water soon. Just a few years from now, your own city can go dry. Drinking water, bathing water, the water that you wash your car with, forget about taking it for granted anymore. India will face 50% water deficit by the year 2030, and it may very well deal with this crisis by importing water. That is, if other countries don't run out of water. The reason? The availability of water per person is dwindling down at a pace faster than you can imagine. From 1951 to 2011, water availability per person dropped by 70%. 30 years from now, the per person water availability is expected to be reduced to 22%. Let's take a reality check tour across India. Himachal Pradesh's capital Shimla has a population of nearly 2 lakh people who require 42 million litres of water per day. And that is not counting the tourists, with a whopping 32 lakh tourists visiting the hill station every year. But angry locals have taken to social media and have asked people to stop visiting the hill town. Why, you may ask? The severe water scarcity and in turn the ration supply has thrown Shimla completely off balance. The Municipal Corporation of Shimla is now distributing water under police protection, and over 70 police personnel have been deployed only to deal with the water wars erupting in the city. With temperatures shooting up and the situation is no better in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan, two of India's biggest states. The situation is so bleak in Ajmer that people are locking their water tanks fearing water theft. A drying Yamuna, the legal dispute between Delhi and Haryana, and the effects of climate change have made the national capital Delhi one of the worst affected places in the country. Over 2 crore residents are fighting for water with 340 million gallons gap between the demand and the supply. In March 2018, even before summer touched its peak, a 60-year-old man was killed in a fight that broke out during water collection from a tanker in Delhi's Wazirpur village. In agriculturally rich Andhra Pradesh, farmers have reportedly been asked not to grow water-intensive crops because Krishna is largely dry beyond the Sirisalam Dam. Once known as the City of Lakes, Bengaluru is today known for the toxic frothing of its lakes. The Bellandur Lake is an example of the city's struggle with sewage and industrial discharge that seeps into the lakes. India's Silicon Valley relies heavily on groundwater and monsoon to meet the needs of the booming population and is expected to be the first Indian city to witness day zero. So, how did we get ourselves into this mess? India is not a water-scarce country. It receives an average annual rainfall of 1,170 millimeters and boasts renewable water reserves of 1,608 billion cubic meters a year. It is also the 9th largest freshwater reserve in the world. But our predominant problem lies in the inefficient management of resources, which has led to this ugly situation. Number 1. Rampant pollution and constant abuse of rivers. In the last 5 years, the number of polluted rivers in India rose from 121 to 275. Take for example the mighty Ganga. It flows through 11 states and is said to provide water to more than 500 million people. But how much of this water is actually fit for consumption? Number 2. Over-dependence on groundwater. More than 60% of agricultural needs and 85% of drinking water supplies are dependent on groundwater in India. The Central Groundwater Board has said that the water level has been decreasing from 0.5 meter to over 2 meters per year. A recent study by the same board revealed that Punjab was found to be the highest groundwater exploited state in India, where 76% of the assessment units were found to be exploited. Rajasthan came next with nearly 66% of groundwater being exploited, followed by Delhi and Haryana. And here's a solid fact. India uses more groundwater than China and United States combined. Number 3. Indians are not harvesting rainwater. We are currently using only 35% of the rainwater we receive. Take Tamil Nadu for example. In 2001, the then Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha made it mandatory for residential buildings and government offices to harvest rainwater with immense resistance from the public. But 17 years down the lane, reports show that Chennai was then on the cusp of a severe water scarcity but is today better equipped to deal with the situation. Number 4. Let's not even talk about the politicians who are obsessed with building huge dams so that they can make money, of course, and ignore the humble community dams that can help us conserve gallons of water. So we can go on with our chalta hai attitude, or we can do our bit to conserve water. Otherwise, dear friends, we are already living in Mad Max's apocalyptic world.